Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make an MCP server that integrates right into an application, exactly like this one. So on the right hand we have this web app that is just a to-do list, and on the left we have Claude. I'm going to ask Claude to add a to-do to this to-do list. Now it's going to go through, it's going to ask to use MCP server, and then it's going to add a to-do to the list. That's just one case. Now let's do this at scale. I'm going to ask Claude what kind of features go into making a to-do app like this. And then I'm going to ask it to make them all into to-do items. So it's going to give me a list of features. And I'm going to ask it to please turn these into to-do items and add them to my list. And now it's going to go through and add each one. And there you go. It just keeps on adding them. All right, now I'm going to show you how to build this. So first things first, you're going to need the Claude client, which we'll be using to connect our MCP server. You're also going to need this repository that I made public. So I added it to the description of this video, so you can link yourself to there and clone that repository. Another thing you'll need is UV, the Python package manager. So you can go ahead and download that. And you're also going to need Docker and Docker Compose, so you can get the Docker engine at the Docker website. All right, now that we have all those items, we're going to open up a terminal. And we're going to clone the repository we have here right into a new folder. All right, now in this repository, you're going to see a Docker Compose file. So let's use Docker Compose up. Now this is going to do, it's going to bring up the front end and also the back end. Now we can click on the link here to open up the client. Now this is our basic client, and it's already connected to our backend server, which is just a simple CRUD API. As you can see, there's live updates connected, so let's try to add some to-dos here. Get food. Sweet, that adds. Test, that adds, and let's see, let's delete them. Cool. So that's our basic application working. Now let's actually write some code to add an MCP server to this, so we can use Claude to add to-do items. All right, I'm going to open up a new terminal and start up Cursor within our repository. Now within Cursor here, as you can see, there is already this to-do MCP server. Now this is the one I was using for the demo, and you can refer to this for any examples if you need any help. But I recommend starting your own folder here. So let's hop back to the terminal here, and we're going to use UV init, and then we're going to call it something. So I'm going to call it to-do MCP server. That's going to knit a folder, so let's go into that folder. And as you can see, this is a basic UV project. All right, so now I'm going to add a few things. I'm going to do UV add, and then in quotes, MCP CLI, and then also HTTPX. Now these are libraries to get us started on this MCP server. So now that we have those libraries installed, let's go back to Claude here. All right, so now in this file, we're going to import our fast MCP server, just like that. Now we're going to actually make an MCP server, just like that, and call it, give it a name in brackets here, to do MCP server. Lots of MCPs being chucked around here. So I'm actually going to use Claude here to generate a helper function for me to make requests to my backend server. So now for my prompt, as you can see, I'm adding in my server file, which is this main.py here. And I'll also give it access to what address I want to look at. So now it's going to write out some stuff here. So now this is, there we go. This is a helper function to call this to do. So I'm going to accept that, go down a little bit and make a function. Let's ask Claude to, based on our backend server, make out CRUD functions that we could use. So that's going to list out all the CRUD operations, and it looks good. And now the important thing for vibe coding is actually reading the code, so let's quickly go through it. We're going to get all our to-dos. We're going to create to-dos, which it seems like creates our data, and then makes the helper call, which is great. Get a single to-do, update a single to-do, and delete a single to-do, which is great. So now that we have all these functions, what makes the fast MCP super fast and like easy to deal with, you can actually add this decorator, and you just do @MCP or whatever your variable for your MCP server is, dot tool. And what this will do is it actually provides to this MCP server that these functions are tools, and it'll use the descriptions in the functions as descriptions for what the tools actually do. So now that we have that all written out, let's clean up this imports a little bit. It's annoying me. That should be at the very top of the file. So we have all that out. We also need to actually add another helper function to format our response here. So as you can see, all of our functions await for our to-do function, but it just returns as a response in JSON. But the MCP server needs to have it in just a string. So I'm going to ask Claude to make me a helper function to format a to-do to a string. Great. So here's a helper function. It just takes the to-do as a dictionary and then turns it into a string. So now I'm actually going to ask the cursor agent to add this format to do to all my mcp.tool functions. And now it's going to think through that, and then let's see what it does. So modify each mcp.tool function. All right. So now, as you can see, it tried to add the to-do format to-do, but it tries to return it as a JSON, which is wrong. I'm going to tell it to instead just return the format to-do function. Now it's good. All right, so now it changed that, and as we can see, that it returns them as strings. So we have some strings there, which is good. But we have one that doesn't look great, which is this get to-dos. It turns into a list. So I'm just going to join the list together with a new line, just like that. All right, so that looks good for our functions. Let's actually run this MCP server. So we're going to do, we actually can call the MCP server just with run like here, and we can do transport equal to, I'm going to do stdio. All right, so now let's try to run it. Let's do uv run main.py. Look like it's accepting standard input output. So that's great. I'm just going to stop this now and attach it to Claude. So I'm going to stop it with Control Z. All right, great. Now let's open up Claude here, and we're going to go to Claude settings, developer, edit config, and that's going to pull us up to the Claude config JSON. I'm going to open that up with cursor. As you can see, I already have this server in here, but this is the input that you guys want to put in here. And in directory here, you're actually going to change this to whatever the directory was of the repository. So for me, it was in developer videos to do MCP server, and then also again to do MCP server. Great. So now that's in there. Let's go back to Claude, quit out, and reopen. And now you should see that there's a hammer here with 5 tools. And sure enough, it's all the create to-do list items. So now let's ensure that our server is still running. Call mom. Of course, you got to call mom for the to-do list. It works. We can delete that to-do as well. So now let's test it out. Please add a to-do. And it's going to add that. Sweet. Now let's see if we can list it. I'm actually going to add a new one here to give some more variation. And I'm going to ask it to list my to-dos. And let's see what it gives us. There we go. I'm going to say delete all my to-dos. There we go. Okay, now it seems like it's getting stuck on trying to delete it. Oh, there we go. Okay, sweet. It went one by one and deleted each to-do. All right. I hope you guys learned something, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments, leave a like, and leave a subscribe too if you want to see more of this kind of content. Thanks for watching.